Hello everyone, this is another episode of Andy's Trains Repair and Maintenance. I'm trying a new angle. For those of you who have seen my videos before, this is an overhead shot. First time I'm using this new type of method, and it should be better for the viewers to be able to see what I'm doing rather than looking at my face, which does you no good. So I have here my repair manual with some notes on that I made a long time ago. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be rewiring a Lionel UCS track, and that's this. This is the controller. Okay, and those of you who are familiar with this track, it's for unloading and uncoupling operating cars with Lionel trains. And so what I've done here is I've taken the liberty of setting things up so that we don't have to spend too much time waiting for the iron to get hot, the soldering iron or other things to happen. So let's dive right into this. I'm going to try to make it as a short video as possible. I have here a UCS track. I cleaned it up as I usually do. This obviously is used, it's old. I have taken the plate off the bottom of one of these controllers. Okay, this happens to be one that has not been rewired yet, as you can see. I will zoom down to get a little closer look to this, but I have I've already, there we go, I've already taken the liberty of this here plate. I took the bottom plate off. There would be normally a bottom plate right here, and screwed that. Inside we find the 4 strands of wire. Now most of you know, if you've used a UCS track like this before, the wire actually comes in a 4-gang wire. It's this. There's 4 strands of wire in this. It's made for the Lionel accessories that had this, that used this wire. So we'll be using this as a demonstration, and then I have one on the side that I've already soldered. So bottom line is, the easiest way to do this is to be able to match up the numbers of the wires. There's 4 wires that go in here, and then 4 wires that go on the track. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you an easy way to wire this so that it is easily hooked up and everything works the way it's supposed to when you press the unload or the uncouple button. Okay? If you wire it incorrectly, it will not work properly. So here's how I do it, and it's proven to work every time. Inside here there are 4 wires coming in, as I said, and you have 4 connections that you have to make. Now this is not the easiest thing to see, but I lay it out like this, and I have a small diagram that I've made, and wire number 1, I lay it flat. I lay the ribbon of wire flat, as you'll see in a minute. And then I decide, is the wire coming in going to be number 1 on the right side or the left side? It actually does not matter as long as you keep consistent. And what I mean by that is wire number 1, okay, would go to this solder point, all right, the top right. Wire number 2 would go to this point, which is top left. Wire number 3 goes to right side bottom, okay, underneath this one. And wire number 4 goes right in the middle. So you have 1 underneath, 2 on top to the left, 3 I'm sorry. Let's start that again. Number 1 on the top to the right. Number 2 top to the left. Number 3 underneath on the right, and then number 4 in the middle. Okay? So 1, 2, 3 underneath, 4 in the middle, bottom. That's how you're going to solder these wires, regardless of how you lay them in here. Meaning, if you lay the wire in here to solder it, it doesn't matter if you put it this way or you put it that way, as long as you know which side of this is number 1. Okay? Now let me show you how I did that already. Like I said, I wanted to save time in this because soldering is soldering. And you'll see me do some of it, but here's one that I've already wired. I've already soldered the wire in. Okay? Now, as you can see in this one, I have the wire laying flat, the new wire, and the one coming in here is number 1, which goes to the top right. Then number 2 is the top left. Number 3 is the bottom right contact, and number 4 is right in the middle. And don't worry about, taking these wires and twisting them over each other or whatever you have to do, because that's the perfect way of soldering them in there. Then in this particular case, the number 1 wire is on the right hand side, looking down at this. So now I take this controller and I go like this. I keep that wire flat. Okay, I keep it flat and true to the way I'm holding it. And then I just pull it along. Okay, pull it along and hold it so it doesn't twist on me or anything. And I put a lot of wire on this. I put 5 feet on this because I like to be able to hook it up to a layout from anywhere. And anyway, as I get to the end, guess what? I've held it while I've done that. And here's number 1. I know where number 1 wire is because I've already stripped this out from the other 3. Okay? So now I don't have to worry. I'm not going to make a mistake and count the other side as number 1 because I know this side is number 1. So I'll put this aside, put this down for a moment. Okay? And the second thing I do is I have these little connectors. Okay? Alrighty, there's 4 of them, and what I do is, I'll show you, I number them with a dry erase, a permanent marker, not a dry erase, but a permanent marker, Sharpie. And in this, you'll see, I think you can see, well, maybe you can't make of course it's not focusing, but this is marked number 4. On the red insulator. Okay, it's marked number 4. So I put this down. I have number 432, and it's simple to do. You just take your marker and there's number 1. So now I have, it's going to correlate to on the track itself. These are actually numbered in the plastic. You can't see it. It's very tiny. But these are actually numbered. You could just barely see the numbers. But this is numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Yeah, you can see it. You can see where they're numbered right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now all we have to do is take our wire. Alright? We're going to strip this down. Where is it? Okay. We're going to strip this as we usually do. Alright. So now I know that I still know that that's number 1 because it's sticking out that side. And what I'm going to do is get my third hand. Some of you have seen my videos before, you know what I'm talking about. That's my little holder, alligator clips. And just so you can see this, I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to move this track for a second. Back this up so you can see this under the camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin the end of this wire. Okay, and I'll just put it into the jar. Take my soldering gun. Now I don't have a flat tip on this today. I was doing some other work that needed a needle type tip on my soldering gun, but still use it just the same. We're going to heat the wire and we're going to tin that piece of wire. Okay, so that means tinning means we just melted some solder on that piece of wire. I'm going to put this over it and bring it to the other side and hold it with my other clip so it doesn't move. So now I have, if you can see this, I'm going to move it in a little bit. Now I have my wires being held steady. I have this one coming here, and this one is holding that on the end of number 1 wire. So, and there's a reason why I do it this way, because this way I don't have to worry about mixing up those 4 wires. I don't want to accidentally solder number 4 where number 1's supposed to go. So I heat this up. And we melt a little solder on that thing. Beautiful. It sucks right into that hole. And voila. We just soldered number 1 onto our wire. Now I know where 2, 3, and 4 are. There's no mistakes. Okay? So what we wind up doing is we wind up taking this and we'll strip it back a little bit. And now we have 1, obviously, number 2, number 3, number 4. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing. We're going to strip some insulation off these. 1, 2, 3. Okay, twist them a little bit. Twist them up. I stripped off the insulation. Let me back this up. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the wire, put it inside here. By the way, these wire, this is not really biting through. They're not that strong, so it's not biting through the insulation. So I take number 2 connector. I put it onto, oh wait, we have to tin it. We have to tin it. So I'm going to tin this one. You have to have a steadier hand when you when you have the needle nose on the soldering iron. But anyway, we put number 2 on here. We make sure it shows past the insulation, so we know we could solder that right on there. That holds it in place. Okay, we take the soldering iron. Make sure you put the soldering iron on both the wire and this U-shaped piece of metal, because you want both to heat up and make a good solder joint. And there we go. Beautiful. Alright, so we did number 2. I'm going to repeat that process for number 3. First we're going to tin it. Okay, and then I'm going to put number 3 on there, and we'll put it in our put it in here. Okay, pull it back a little bit. Beautiful. So I just let the wire stick out enough so that I could put the iron on the wire itself plus the metal of the connector, so that they both heat up, and I know that the wire and the connector is hot, and I make a good solder joint. Okay, so that's number 3. Oh, see what happened? That's perfect example of when you rush, you don't do it right. I did not heat up the wire enough. So now I have to show you, and I like when I make mistakes. It just shows that you can make mistakes even when you're good at doing this stuff. Anyway, this one has to go back in here, and I'm going to have to push this through by heating it, because for some reason the wire wasn't hot enough. So I'm going to heat this up, push the wire through. There you go. And we're going to heat it up some more. Let that cool a little bit. That's probably why it came off, because I didn't let it cool enough. I'm rushing. So let's see if we were successful this time. Hot, hot, hot. Woo, that is hot. Okay, let's tin this one. Tin number 4. I didn't put it in the clip. There we go. Nice and tinned. Take number 4, slide it on, put it into this, pull it apart a little bit. Okay, we have the wire showing a teensy bit. Get a little shot of that. Okay, and you can see the wire, and just about see the little tip of the wire sticking out here. Okay. Alright, so let's let that cool down just a tiny bit. Hopefully it doesn't come off. Okay. And there you go. Our wires are now 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you wired it correctly, the way I showed you here, okay, your corresponding numbers 1, 2, 4 are going to be correct on the track itself. And again, just a review, on this controller, you flip it over so that the unload side is on the right hand side and the uncouple is on the left hand side. You face the opening toward you always, so you can lay this in. You can lay in the flat wire, the 4-gang. Okay, number 1, top right. Number 2, top left. Number 3, bottom right. Number 4, center bottom. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 corresponds to these. Now if you really want to get fancy, here's what you should do, or could do. I mean, I've been doing this so long, I just do it. And I usually don't check, but just for the heck of it, if you want to make sure you did everything well, let's put our amp meter there. Number 1 over here should match number 1 over here, and there you go. It's a contact. We won't see anything here, we won't see anything here, and we won't see anything on the bottom. Okay, so we know we did that right. And if you wanted to, you just keep going. You can go number 2. Well, number 2 we know is on the left side, and that works. And number 3 is on the bottom right side. And let me see, that worked. Come on, get in there. Hard to do it. There you go. And number 4 is in the middle, on the bottom. And voila. Wired perfectly. Everything's connected. Good solder joints. Alright, we know that this sucker should work when we do our thing. So now we got to put the plate on. Now these plates have a little bump right here. It's a little bump. Okay, that bump should go against this wire. It's designed to kind of hold the wire in that little opening. Okay, see the opening right here, right there. Okay, so that little bump thing goes in there, and then you put your 2 screws in. And you tighten those screws up. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. Guys and gals, whomever is doing this, tighten that up. And you don't have to go nuts tightening it. I mean, it's not tight like you're gonna. It's because you're going into plastic. You don't want to strip it. So here you go. You have a controller. Nice new wire on it. You take the track. All right. You wind up putting 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you tighten down those screws. One. I know it's hard to see, guys and gals, but there's 2, there's 3, and of course number 4. And there you go. Now when you use this track, it will work properly, and it's all wired up brand new, cleaned up, and ready to go. And I'm not going to video it because the video would be too long, but I'm going to, well, I got my iron hot, I'm going to solder new wire onto this connector, onto this controller, and do the same thing to it, and hook it up to another track that I have, and we'll be good. So I hope this was helpful, and I try my best. I haven't been in the best of health lately in the last few months, but got some back trouble, but that's why I haven't videoed in such a long time. But I try to keep up with my responses and my comments that I get from you guys on my YouTube channel and my emails and all that. If I don't get back to you for a long time, I'm sorry, but I can't, I've been so busy with a lot of your questions. So anyhow, I hope you have a good time with your trains. Remember, keep them on the tracks. Andy out. And by the way, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year to all.